Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with All American Homecoming, episode 10, called Dance with My Father. Guys, this was an okay episode. I definitely think it was a more self-contained episode. I don't think too many, crazy things were really going on in this episode. It felt just like a chill episode, besides the fact of some pretty big moments here and there. Mainly with, on the relationship side, I would say there was some big, things happening that was kind of saying to myself, oh no, I can't believe that, and stuff like that. So I can't wait to get to that, the relationship side of where some of our characters' relationships are going. But of course, this is the episode where Damon is coming back from Chicago after his father's funeral, after what is it? I think his father's name is what is it? Xavier? Yeah, Xavier. He's coming back from his father Xavier's funeral, and pretty much, everybody is coming together, being there for Damon, and Damon, of course, is acting like he's okay, as I expected that he would play it off, saying I'm good, let's not worry about it, because I guess what's going on with JR, it's big news. I guess it's not his birthday. I think it's some KEK event for him or something, and he has news about him going into, I forget the name of it, but it's a chance for him to get into the MLB. And he has that news, and he wants to tell his father about it, and it's a big day for him. I think it's because of that. That's that news. I don't think it has anything to do with KEK. I'm not quite sure. I think it does have something involved with KEK, because I don't think it's. I know it's not JR's birthday. It might be something involving KEK, but he has the news about him getting into this program that could get him into the MLB. And Damon doesn't want to taint that. He's I don't want you to be, you be worried about me. I'm okay. I'm cool. This is your day. You know what I mean? You should be excited. You should be celebrating right now. Let's do it. And of course, Simone ends up going back to Damon's room after he's putting his stuff back, and pretty much is I know something is wrong. And he kind of already knew it was Simone. He's Simone, come in. He's Simone, she's how'd you know it was me? And he's I know you. And she's I know you too. And I know that, you're just playing it off, but I know that, you're upset about this. And essentially, in this episode, it's really I would say a really heavily JR episode, because, his grandfather ends up coming in, and, when JR introduces, his girlfriends, and, and of course, Damon, and pretty much say, oh, here's your other grandson. And it's kind of I thought maybe the grandfather would know that he had another grandson. So I was kind of oh my God, does he not know? And this is going to be an awkward conversation, especially with, Jesse. Pretty much, I thought Jesse wouldn't have told him. But apparently, was it JR's and Damon's grandfather doesn't like JR's girlfriend, Gabby, JR's and Damon's grandfather. So yeah, he's I don't like, and pretty much, he says it quietly. He pretty much says it to Jesse, which of course is Damon and JR's father, pretty much saying yo, look, I don't like, I'm going to look out for my grandson, and I'm telling you, I don't like that Gabby girl. And pretty much Damon overhears that, and pretty much, Damon isn't okay with the fact of, the grandfather pretty much, getting on his son, aka Jesse, about, him saying you didn't follow through with, you because they're playing pool, and he's pretty much, pretty much being rude. Essentially, he's being rude to his son. And of course, it just is awkward for, Damon, and with the whole, what is it? I forget who says it. I think it's Gabby that says, oh, JR is in is doing mechanic stuff, and what is it? The grandfather's oh yes, hopefully you'll be taking over the business, and he's oh, and then someone says, oh yeah, well that's not the only mechanic. I think that's what JR says, and automatically the grandfather thinks that, oh, Damon's is in line to be a mechanic too, so it's mechanics running the family. But he's no, I was talking about Gabby, she's a fellow mechanic as well, and she's gonna be, hopefully she'll be a part of the family business. And of course, he's oh, isn't that oh, that's cute, he says, or whatever, or something like that. Pretty much he's being sexist. He's oh yeah, making it sound oh, that's not a big deal, or oh yeah, right, or something like that. Oh, that's cute. And I'm automatically Gabby picked up on it about how rude he was being to Jesse, and also how rude he was being to her. Damon picked up on it, but the only one that really didn't pick up on it was JR. And pretty much again, Damon overhears, the grandfather talking to Jesse, saying like, look, I'm going to look out for my grandson. I think Gabby, that girl, is no good for him. I'm going to talk to him to get rid of her. And pretty much that's when he goes to JR and says like, look, Gramps isn't feeling Gabby. He's going to ask you to break up with her. And of course, Gabby overhears it because she goes out in the hallway while Damon and JR talk. And pretty much she's like, yeah, like, I like, I'm glad, I'm not the only one that kind of, could read the room on how Rudy was being to me when I said I was a mechanic. And two, about the fact of, I could tell that he just isn't he doesn't like me. And, of course, JR doesn't buy it. He's like, that's not my grandfather. And he's like, oh, but we're going to go down there and fix everything. And of course, that's when the grandfather says, yeah, like, I'm looking out for you, and I don't think she's any good. And he's like, well, you don't even know her. And apparently it comes out that the grandfather pretty much, forced Jesse not to take in Damon, because at this point, the grandfather thinks that Damon is somebody else's kid, is Xavier's kid and not his kid. And even though I can't remember Damon and JR's mother's name, I can't remember, but apparently told Jesse to ignore her and one, break it off with her, but also not bring in somebody else's kid, and let and let someone and pretty much Jesse, Jesse's father, the grandfather, was like, oh, like, I didn't raise you to be soft and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah. And pretty much, JR was disappointed. He walked away with Gabby. Damon's like, okay, I think we gotta go because I'm not, like, let's go somewhere else because I don't want to stay here. And they were all on terms like, yeah, let's all get out of here. And, Jesse kind of also, like, realized that, when Gabby told JR to tell Jesse about, oh, like, JR got into this program where he has a chance to get into the MLB. Jesse, of course, was saying, oh, are you ready for that? You know what I mean? Making it sound like, oh, are you? But JR didn't take offense to it about Jesse getting on him saying, are you ready for that? Because you're going against, like, people that didn't take any breaks from baseball, and you're going up against the best of the best that want everything that you want, which is to get into the MLB. And of course, Damon wasn't having it. He's like, okay, you should be supporting your son and stuff like that. Like, it was just like all stuff saying, like, he was just didn't want anything to do with this, especially after his father died. He didn't want, hear the grandfather be rude to Jesse, and also be rude to, because also the way, like, Jesse grew up, like, from his father, all trickled down to the way he was treating JR about, not believing in his dreams and stuff and being hard on him like that. So Damon was seeing all that, but JR doesn't see it like that. So that was all interesting stuff, especially the fact that JR finally saw his grandfather for the piece of crap that he was. And also, Jesse wanted to turn a new leaf on being there for JR, but also being there and supporting JR, but also still wanting to be there for Damon and be that father figure that he wants to be for Damon, like, wants to be the father that Damon deserves. You know what I mean? Like, he has a lot of, time to make up for, because Damon was his actual kid, and he's still showing up to that, to that diner every Wednesday night, waiting for Damon to be ready to start a relationship with him. So, I was really impressed with Jesse wanting to turn a new leaf and wanting to be there for both of them, but I was really sad for Damon and what he was going through. But the biggest thing was probably, Simone and Thea. Them pretty much, after Simone being off of, her suspension, her 1-game suspension due to the whole, her accidentally taking the what is it? I think the weed lotion or whatever, if I'm correct, like the weed lotion, if that's what it was. After her taking that by accident because of Nate's lotion, and pretty much her having the 1-game suspension, and now she's kind of wondering, am I going back in the top 6? Am I still gonna have the 6th spot? Am I still gonna do that? And then of course Thea being off of her off of her injury. And her coming back, and her wondering, do I get my top 6 spot, like the spot that was mine before I got hurt, and Simone kind of, filled in for me and kept my seat warm. That's the way Thea thinks of it, when it's like, no, like, Simone earned that spot. You know what I mean? Yes, you hurt yourself, but she earned that because of her talents. But, and it's weird that Thea thought automatically, like, oh, I got hurt, but now I'm back. I get my spot back. When it's like, no, in reality, like, a suspension is more of like, oh, once you're done with being suspended, then you get your spot back, not injury and then you get your spot back. You know what I mean? I just felt like that made a little bit more sense, because Thea's been gone, not playing for a while, but in reality, Simone just got to miss one game. So I thought it was kind of dumb when Coach Lonnie made the other coach come out to tell them both, like, look, you guys are going to be doing doubles. And pretty much that was them testing out, like, they both should share top 6, which at the end of, in reality, they were upset about the fact that we don't do doubles. We can't do doubles. Like, we're single players. Like, we can't do doubles. They had to, of course, get locked into escape room with 2D and the whole entire team being tired of Simone and Thea's bullshit. So they're like, okay, like, and it's funny because when they're like, oh, like, we want to like meet me at this place, you know what I mean? And of course, like, they're and of course they're like, oh, like, why should we listen to you? And then they're like, 2D's like, come on, like, just meet me there. And pretty much, they're kind of both trying to blame 2D, like, look, like, you stop acting like we're the ones going after each other when you were trying to go after me too. And she's like, yes, but I can get over that if we're going to be winning. So we're all tired of your bullshit, the whole entire team. And you know what I mean? I can get over, you know what I mean, of what our squabble was if we win. We just need you guys to get it together. So you're going to go to this escape room and try to figure out and work together as a team. Which, Simone made it sound like, oh, that's not like, oh, this is like your way of making us work together is us doing an escape room. When it's like, yes, that's a good idea because it's teamwork to get out of the escape room. So I was actually agreeing with 2D once for once. I was agreeing with her. I was like, 2D's actually not wrong. You guys should be doing this escape room to work together, because if 2D's saying that, the whole team is tired, and 2D and the whole entire team are saying that they're tired of your bullshit, both of you know there's something wrong, because 2D is the biggest, mean person I think we've encountered. I think even more than Thea. But even if she's saying it, I would say that, she's valid in that. So, and if she can, drop everything and put the team forward, I think you guys should be able to do that and listen to 2D's idea and the whole team's idea. So that was a pretty fun sequence, hearing them work together to try to get out of there. It was mainly Simone doing it. Like, she did all the big work until the very end where, like, they got, like, Thea saw the planks that built the cross. And Simone, it's like, that looks familiar. I think I've seen those logos over on the other planks. And, you know what I mean, that symbol. And then they put them together, makes an X, and then they put it up on the wall. And Simone already found the keys, so they were able to get out. So that was a very, fun sequence to get them to work together and to get them to put their differences aside. And when they were actually playing the game, the doubles game, they were struggling at first, but Simone's like, how about, we put our strengths as single players and put that together as double players, like what our strengths are as single, and let's play it like that. Let's play out our own strengths. And they end up doing that, and they end up winning. And that was really nice. And of course, Simone is like, it was questioning, like, how are we so killer on the court and we get along, but when it's off the court, like, what, like, we're at each other's necks, like, what's going on with that, like, how do we fix that? And of course, like, Thea's like, how about, we just leave it here on the court, you know what I mean, we did a good job, and you know what I mean, and if we should just keep this up, like, you know what I mean, like, let's just keep it on the court, which I hope that this doesn't mean that they're not going to be friends going forward, but I feel like after the end of this episode, I feel like they're not going to be friends at all now, even on the court. Because, there was a moment where, like, Simone was like, what kind of a friend are you that you haven't even checked in on Damon? You know what I mean? And of course, Thea's like, like, I don't know how to be, his friend after, I don't know how to be his, ex, let alone, or be his friend, let alone be his ex. Like, I don't know how to, like, come back from that, because we were friends to dating to being his ex and going there as, like, a friend. Like, I don't know how to do that. And, she had to push past that, and then she ends up, like, showing up to, be there for Damon and pretty much say, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't know how to do this, like, to even be your friend now after we were dating, even though, like, I want to be your friend. And Damon said it's all good. Damon finally does read the note at the end of the episode with Simone's help, and they actually end up kissing. And I was worried about that. I was like, great, this is going to make big problems going forward, because I know Thea still likes Damon, and I was expecting for them to make a bounce back and them just start dating eventually. Thea and, like, Damon can get back together. That's what I wanted. But of course, the writers I knew that they were going to come back to this, and of course, especially when they're kind of all the characters are kind of in a good place right now with like Thea and or with what is it with Simone and Lando. They're dating technically, and also Damon was like not dating anybody, but I was hoping that him and Thea could make a bounce back and could get back together. I was hoping eventually, but now that's kind of like she literally is going to hurt Lando in the process, and Lando's going to want to go after Damon, and Thea is going to want to go after Simone because that they kissed too, and Thea thought Simone of a friend, and they just became friends back on the court, but now that's going to get like tainted because of the fact that she's going to find out that Simone kissed Damon, and it's going to be a whole bunch of drama that's going to be like, oh great, here we go again. But I want to talk about Coach Marcus and pretty much him kissing Amara and pretty much saying like, I gave you I told you that I loved you before, I went into, before I like got help. But now like I'm going to tell you in a different way that I love you, and pretty much kissed her, and she kissed him back. And literally we all know Amara and Marcus were going to get together, but now things are complicated now because of course, as we know, when Marcus went away to get help, Amara started dating, what is it? I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. Keisha's father, which I forget what his name is. But she started dating Keisha's father, and now it seems to be that she still has feelings for Marcus. And in reality, she kind of always had feelings for Marcus. So I feel like that, I hope that they start dating, because I never really cared for the whole her dating Keisha's father and stuff like that. I always kind of rooted for Marcus and Amara to eventually work out. But now this complicates things because Keisha kind of is now in kind of, is kind of like, in like, I don't know the word for it. It's kind of like, in terms with the fact of her father is going to be dating Amara, even though she just got over the fact of pretty much, she just got over yelling at her father and about how the fact is she still feels that I still miss my mother. But yet, Simone's like, but your father, you should be happy for your father. He should be able to, he should be able to be happy too. And, she kind of just, said like, oh, I'm happy my dad has someone like you. And it just puts it in a weird spot because as we all know, she just kissed Marcus and she still has feelings for Marcus. So I don't know how that's going to work if Keisha is going to be hurt at the fact of, Amara dating her father and now kind of in a way cheating on her father with Marcus. I don't know how that's all going to go, even though there's more to that, really, of the fact that it's kind of like a gray area on the fact of, she still had feelings for Marcus, and I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to go, but, Keisha, I felt like it was kind of, like, she was hella, in my personal opinion, hella over dramatic on the fact of getting angry at Amara for sticking up, not just for her as, it's Amara and Keisha, they're like family, but also like Amara being the principal and helping a student out, which is Keisha, on the fact of Dr. Pace being so like aggressive with her methods as being a dance teacher and being too hard on her students to the point where like they're not sleeping and they're not eating and they're breaking down. And yes, like, things needed to change way before Keisha, but, since Amara was in the position to, like, know this thing's happening, and it just so happened that Keisha was the person that noticed that things were happening to, that it was happening to, she did something about, Dr. Pace's methods, which, the fact that Keisha got upset because the students were lashing out, Dr. Pace's students were lashing out at Keisha saying, well, like our dance thing is like canceled because, since Dr. Pace's substitute's been in here, and, we kind of put two and two together that, you're close with, Amara, you're close with Amara, the principal, that it just so happened, after everything that happened with you, that Dr. Pace ends up leaving on leave and brings in the substitute. When it's like, again, they're like, so they're being rude and shady, her classmates, because of Amara, putting Dr. Pace in line about her treating her students like shit. Sorry, you should not be yelling at Amara because she stuck up for you as a student. Put aside the fact that, you guys are technically family, You know what I mean? You're a part of, the family dinners and stuff. Put that aside. It's the fact that she was treating you bad. The teacher was treating a student bad, which you're the student, so she did something about it. I thought that was bullshit. And the fact that she told Cam to leave the room after she said you can't talk to, Amara like that. You can't talk to you can't talk to her like that. And she's like, oh, Cam, like, you have nothing to do with this. You should walk out of here right now. And I was like, damn, Cam doesn't need that shit. I said to myself, like, oh, hell no. Like, if that was me, I would be, you're not talking to me like that either. Like, I mean, you're being, like, over dramatic because you don't like the way that the students are talking. They're upset the fact of Amara doing her job about a teacher being rude. Who cares? And in reality, those students were the teacher's favorites anyways. So who cares? Of course they're angry. You know what I mean? Those were Dr. Pay's favorite students before you arrived. She's always had a problem with you. So in reality, it's like if that makes it fair because she kind of had favorites too. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, Dr. Pay should never have been as, aggressive as she was as a dance teacher. Because in reality, it was making Keisha, like, to the point of, like, where was her excitement in dance anymore? You know what I mean? Like, she was literally breaking down, not getting any sleep, not eating because of her methods of teaching. Things needed to be done, and she had the power as the principal to do something about the teacher being out of line. So I hated that plot line. I was like, I didn't feel bad for Keisha. I was like, Keisha, you're being rude at this situation. She did something nice. As the principal, scratch that you know her as, like, family, she acted as a principal should act when a teacher is being harsh on their students, especially to that extent where Keisha could have went to the hospital if this kept being unnoticed. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I agree with Amara on that. I was hella pissed on the way Keisha was treating her. I was like, no. So in reality, if it does go sideways on the fact of Keisha finding out that, Amara, doesn't really want to be with, I think his name is, I don't know what his name is. I still can't remember. I think it's Zeke. Yeah, it's Zeke, if I'm correct. Zeke is Keisha's father's name. Doesn't want to be with Zeke anymore. It is what it is. She's always had feelings for Marcus, and just happens that it's the right time for them being together. So I really don't really care what Keisha's opinions are as of right now, because I just thought she was really out of line in this episode. But I'm going to play next week's episode up right here.
Me and Simone, we kind of had a moment. She's not answering any of my texts.
You know I have a sixth sense for messy drama, right?
Did y'all see that Yard Yak post? My business is just out on the street.
Oh my lord.
You good?
We need distance.
It's only gonna get messier for you.
And as you guys could see in next week's episode, it looks like Damon is sending messages to Simone about them having the moment that they did. Simone's not responding, and it looks like the message that Damon sent out kind of went to everybody. So everybody is now in their business of everybody knowing that something happened between Damon and something happened between Simone. You know damn well Lando's going to find out. He's not going to be too happy, and you know damn well Thea's not going to be too happy, and you know that it's not the fact that they're probably going to come to. It's probably not on the fact that Thea's gonna go to Damon and Lando's gonna go to Simone. It's gonna be vice versa, where Thea goes to Simone to confront her, and Lando goes to Damon to confront him. And there's gonna be hella drama. I don't know. And what I can see happening, unfortunately, which I really really don't want, is Lando dating Thea, and then Damon and Simone end up start dating. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I feel like that's what the writers are probably gonna do, because that's that typical like story that you see in like movies and TV shows where like once two couples dated and screw over the couples that that they were initially with, the couples that they screwed over eventually end up getting together, and then the people that did screw them over get together. So that's probably what's going to end up happening. Even though I don't want Lando with Thea, I want Damon with Thea, and I don't really care for Simone and Lando. I prefer that because I just love the dynamic between Thea and Damon. I loved them together, and it sucks that that's not what the writers want, clearly. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I'm excited to see what goes forward, especially who Amara chooses, because hopefully she doesn't play Zeke any longer and keep playing Marcus any longer, because Marcus still doesn't know that Amara is dating Zeke. He doesn't know. So you can only imagine when, after he said I love you and went to go get help so that way he could be the right man for Amara and for his students, she ends up going out with Zeke, and then he still doesn't know. He ends up kissing her again while she's dating Zeke, and you know, and still probably doesn't give him an answer and lets him think like, oh, like I'm willing to wait for Amara, and he ends up finding out that she's been dating Zeke all that time. He's gonna get hurt, and we all even know Zeke's gonna get hurt, and Amara might not end up being with anybody by the end of this if Amara keeps this secret. I honestly don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Especially, I'm super excited in next week's episode what Nate's gonna be doing. I'm excited to see if we'll get any more campaign stuff with Nate and Nico. I'm really hoping Nico finds out soon that Nate is running, because I want to see Nico's face saying like, oh, Nate, you can't do this. And Nate saying, hell yeah, I can, and I'm going to beat you. I want to see that episode so bad, because I need Nico to be shut down, because Nico's a problem. That's for damn sure. And I'm really hoping that Nate wins. But guys, I'm really curious to know what you guys think about this episode. Sorry if I was a little all over the place, especially like not knowing, JR and Damon's grandfather's name. I totally like forgot his name. It kind of flew over my head. I remembered the things as we went on. But yeah, guys, get again here. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Let me know what are your theories for going into episode 11 next week. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, a part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we're almost to 700 subscribers. That is the goal. My initial goal by the end of this year is to get to 1,000 subscribers, and you guys can help me get to that goal if you are new here. So yet again, if you're new, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, and like this video. It's much appreciated. And guys, yet again, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.